Well guys, last night was one of the most exciting nights for Tesla in quite a while. They just unveiled the Model Y, and what do we have today? We have Tesla stock crashing down another $14+ a share today, down about 5%. Two parts of this are bad. One, the market's up big today, so most stocks are having a great day, and then you have Tesla falling 5%. Two, Tesla's been having a rough 2019. It was an amazing stock basically in the fall running up to the winter time, and then it reached about 370, and from there it's just been kind of falling and falling and falling. Okay, I want to give my full opinion about the Model Y, why the stock is crashing in my opinion today, all this type of stuff, okay, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, okay. So first off, look at Model Y, just like me looking at the vehicle, I'm impressed. I think it's a good looking vehicle. Is it something that wowed you like maybe the Model X did with the Falcon doors and things like that? Probably not, but at the same time, it's not in the same type of price brackets, right? Model X, you could be looking at $100,000 or so. This is a vehicle that's priced more toward the, the high 30s, maybe all the way up to high 50s type range, okay? You can actually order the Tesla Model Y now on the website as of right now, okay? They kind of advertise it as an all-wheel drive vehicle, about 300 miles of range. And if you kind of look at what models they're offering right now, they offer one model, a rear-wheel drive model, that's about $42,700, but that's after savings, okay? They also offer a long-range model and a performance model. Now, if we look at the long-range model, what do you get? So first off, that's about a $47,000 car, and that's before savings, okay? You get about 300 miles range, about a 130 top speed, like who goes 130 miles an hour. You get 5.5, 0 to 60, all right? That's basically what you get for that. And then I think the other most popular one, at least right now, would probably be the performance model, because a lot of folks like to have the highest of the highest end. And if you look at this, you're looking at about 60,000 bucks. That's once again before autopilot and those type of things, and that's before savings. That one gets about 280 miles range, which is more than enough for most people out there. 150 miles per hour top speed, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So that baby can get up and move. Now, in terms of the cheaper model, if you do that $47,000 model, right, and you do the autopilot and whatnot, you're basically looking at a purchase price of around $55,000. That's not just autopilot, but that's also the advanced feature that they're supposed to be coming out with later this year. That's even supposed to be able to drive, with traffic lights and basically city driving and whatnot, not just highway driving. So you're looking at about $55,000 if you want all those type of features out the door for that type of model, okay? If you want the base model, this would just be the electric SUV, like the cheapest way out right now. Nothing added to that vehicle or anything across the board, but it's an electric SUV. You'd be looking at somewhere around maybe 670 bucks a month, maybe down to like 600 bucks a month in terms of your loan. Obviously, it depend on what your down payment is and whatnot. So needless to say, you're getting into price brackets that are more affordable for a lot more people out there. I think a lot of people, as far as when they have loans on a car, they pay anywhere from 400 bucks a month to up to maybe 700 bucks a month. Obviously, some people can pay in the thousands of dollars a month depending on what type of car, but most folks is 400 to 700. So they do have a model now that would kind of meet that criteria. And let's keep in mind the cheaper model, the cheapest model is going to start around $39,000 when they actually come out with that. So then we're talking about even cheaper, okay? So even a more affordable model, all right? Now, there are a few things that caught my attention that I think are kind of the things that are making the stock crash today, okay? A couple of things. So first off, production is not even going to begin till late next year, okay? So meaning probably winter time, maybe late fall time, but probably more toward winter time of 2020. So we're talking about, well over a year and a half before production likely starts on these vehicles, okay? Which means most people that, let's say you're placing an order for this, you're probably not going to get that vehicle until like 2021. That's a long time away, okay? And so I think a lot of folks had expected earlier. Also, another thing is the standard range production, which is the cheapest one, right? The one that's going to start at $39,000. They're talking about that's not going to be available till 2021 in terms of actually going into production. Early 2021, that could mean January, that could mean like April. We'll have to see what type of time that is, obviously. But that's we're talking about those are like 2 years away, if not more than 2 years away from even going into production. So that's a long time. And I think a lot of folks, even including myself, expected the production to begin in the first quarter of 2020. And I was thinking maybe worst case scenario begins in the second quarter of 2020. And what it sounds like, honestly, is going to probably be more like a fourth quarter of 2020 production would just start. So that's going to put a lot of people having to wait a long time before they even get their hands on a Model Y, all right? Now let's take it back to the stock for a minute. So once again, the stock's down 5+% today, okay? So bad news, if you're trying to read like the tea leaves, I guess you could say, of the bad news of the situation, obviously I think that it's going into production later than I think a lot of folks expected on Wall Street. Two, honestly, we just got to view this, guys. Tesla's a little desperate for money. The fact that they come out with a vehicle this far in advance and take people's money, basically, because you have to actually pay for the vehicle if you want a Model Y. You have to pay for that now, get all that ready to go. That's a long time away, okay? So the $2,500, that's basically a refundable money. But, when you just kind of look at this, it's obvious this was a play on Tesla wanting to get a lot more cash around, okay? I can't necessarily blame them for it, but it's pretty obvious. I think if they didn't have to make that debt payment they did recently, the $920 million, I don't think they would have came out with Model Y and shown it off already. I think this was something that was set up probably toward, the back half of 2019. I could have pictured them, kind of showing it off in 2019, which, late 2019, like November, December, which would have made a lot more sense because then you're looking at maybe a year out. But at this point, guys, we're well over a year and a half away from anybody even getting their hands on these cars. So it's definitely a little desperate play. Obviously I love Tesla and a lot of us love Tesla and we'll never say anything bad about Tesla. But let's be honest, if this was any other company out there, the Apples or the Samsungs, we'd be looking at this right now. Imagine, one of those companies says, oh, we're going to come out with this amazing smartphone, going to be the best smartphone ever. And, they start taking people's money and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to get it like 2 years from now. We'd be looking at that and being like, are they desperate for money? Because that's a little sketch, right? But Tesla, they can kind of get away with whatever they want, all right? Now, another thing is Elon's just being stubborn in this situation, all right? They could just raise money. Elon is so hell-bent on not raising money and whatnot, and a lot of us investors feel like they should raise money. I've come out on this channel and said many times I would be fine with them raising money. It's still pretty easy to get capital. I think it's just worth doing. I know, I'm pretty sure Galileo over at Hyperchange, I'm pretty sure he has the same opinion. Tesla could just raise money or something like that. I have I personally, I don't have an issue with it. I know Elon doesn't want to give up any more equity, but I'm like, you could just raise the money and then you're not like conflicting with customers and whatnot or causing any problems there and just making, people mad that, because now they're in a situation where they have to start pretty much coming out with those in a year and a half or 2 years from now. And if they don't, then they're just going to make a bunch more customers mad and things like that. So in my personal opinion, it's just not the best way to do business in my personal opinion, okay? Taking people's money and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to give you this product or service, but it's going to be like 2 years from now. That's just not, in my personal opinion, the best way to do business, okay? They could just raise money and they would have plenty of cash around to do whatever they want, but Elon doesn't want to do that and it is what it is, okay? Now, good news. I like to get out the bad news first. Let's talk about some good news around this. Number one, the Model Y looks good in my personal opinion, and it looks like it's going to be a good value. We're talking about, like we talked about, $39,000 starting, maybe go up to, the 50s or something. I think for an electric SUV, I think it's affordable enough for enough of the masses out there. I think it's a good looking car that's a good value in my personal opinion in the SUV space, okay? That's my opinion there. Number two, the Model Y was a really big event. Let's be very clear. Most car companies out there don't have anybody show up at their events, if they even have an event like this. This event was streamed by massive amounts of people. I know I was on YouTube and, there were different channels that were live streaming it that had 10,000 plus, live viewers, never mind the ridiculous amount of people that were, viewing it live from the Tesla website and things like that. So in my opinion, this attention this event got, it's just unparalleled compared to any other, auto manufacturer in the world. Name one other auto manufacturer in the entire world that gets this type of attention when they launch a vehicle. There's no one, okay? It's pretty much Tesla has this mass amount of attention and then nobody else has this type of attention or even close. I think the type of attention Tesla gets for an event like this is even bigger than like an Apple event, for instance. Like, Apple's events are always huge, especially the ones they come out with the fall, the new iPhones and whatnot. But when I look at like this, like there's really no other auto company that can compare with this type of attention around launching a new vehicle. So that is, and then I just don't agree with some of what's being put out there by mainstream media and whatnot around, Tesla shares falling today because it was an underwhelming Model Y. I completely 100% disagree with an underwhelming Model Y, okay? That was a good looking vehicle. It's an all electric SUV and we're talking about a price point of around $40,000 starting. I don't think there's a lot of other auto manufacturers out there that can, release anything around those type of price points or even 50,000 or something. That's actually a decent looking vehicle. So I don't think it was an underwhelming event. If anybody was expecting the Model Y to blow the doors off, it's completely unrealistic because we're talking about this is like what Model 3 was to Tesla, right? The affordable car. The Model Y is that for SUVs. So you shouldn't expect anything crazy with that, okay? The Model X was a crazy idea with the Falcon doors and that's a super complicated vehicle, but it also sells for $100,000 and not most folks can afford that, right? So if anybody was expecting something crazy from Model Y, I'm just like, what were they imagining? Like, what were they imagining this vehicle to be for $40,000 or $50,000? That's an electric SUV. That's just completely unrealistic. So I don't agree that it was underwhelming. I think it was great. I think just Wall Street's kind of caught up in this thing of kind of realizing that, man, why is Tesla taking these orders so far in advance? And not only that, but they're kind of looking at this and saying the production is still a long time away. So Model Y, in terms of, actually helping out the revenue numbers in a big way, obviously they can take all those, refundable deposits in and carry those in cash for right now. But in terms of actually, getting the sales numbers and whatnot, we're looking at probably 2 years before those start to really add up, if not more than 2 years. So I think that's why Wall Street's kind of looking at this and like, okay, this is still a long time away. And obviously Tesla's a type of stock that's a momentum name, growth name, and a lot of folks are looking at it and now they're like, well, how much growth is there going to be over the next couple of years? I think Tesla can still grow over the next few years even without Model Y, but it's just not going to be at nearly as fast of a clip as if they came out with Model Y sometime soon. So anyways, let me know what your guys' opinion is on the Model Y down there, the launch event. I would love to hear from you guys as always, and the stock in general. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching and have a great day.